Hello and welcome to The Wire. I am Sumedha Pal. Today we're having an important conversation about the case of journalist Siddique Kappan. We understand that he has been given a bail order. However, he is still not allowed to walk free. We will be delving into the nitty-gritties of the legalities of the case, why he still can't walk free, and also about the kind of legal twists and turns this case has taken. I'm being joined and have been given this time and this opportunity to speak to his advocate, Mr. Haris Piran. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and for speaking with us. My first question is that he has been given a bail order, it had come out. However, we now understand that there is a PMLA case pertaining to a certain amount of funding, which is still restricted his release. So if you can tell us about the case, what is currently going on, and how do you view this? Is there a larger context here which needs to be understood?
We have to look at from two angles. One, in the Supreme Court, the case was of UAPA. In the UAPA case, as you all know, Supreme Court has granted bail. Supreme Court has set conditions in the sense that they have asked the trial court to set conditions also. The trial court has set conditions of local sureties and all those things, and that he has to satisfy. Now, once he satisfies those conditions, then obviously he will be set on bail in that UAPA case. Now, once he is set on bail in the UAPA case, the difficulty is that he may not be able to physically come out of the jail because in another case, which is PMLA case, which is quite separate from the UAPA case, he is again, the arrest has been recorded in that, for which he has moved another bail application. Now, that bail application is pending before the PMLA court in Lucknow, and he'll have to get bail in that. Only after he gets bail in that particular case, he'll be able to walk out freely, physically from the jail. Now, as far as that particular case is concerned, see, PMLA cases are registered when there is a predicate offence. Now, the predicate offence in this case is the UAPA case. Now, in the predicate offence, if he has got bail, then in natural conditions, he has to get bail in the PMLA case also. But then now it has been listed for the 19th, so we'll have to wait till 19th whether the local court over there is going to grant him bail or not.
And for our viewers, if you could explain the kind of trajectory this case has taken from his arrest to where it is now, if we could sum that up. And also, would you say that there is a deliberate attempt being made to sort of keep him in longer, even after he's got the bail in the UAPA case?
In the first instance, I think there has been some sort of a goof up regarding the advice which Siddique Kappan had received. Because for a long time, there was no bail application which he had filed even before the trial court. The only petition which was pending as far as he was concerned was the petition filed by the Kerala Union of Working Journalists before the Supreme Court. That was also a habeas corpus petition. Now, habeas corpus petition will not lie once the prosecution comes and tells the Supreme Court that he has been legally arrested, legally confined to jail. But then that particular petition remained pending before the Supreme Court for quite some time. Only after it was disposed of, he went back to the trial court and started applying for bail. Trial court obviously rejected, the High Court also rejected, and ultimately it came to Supreme Court and Supreme Court granted. So what I am trying to say is that there has been some, if I may say so, some sort of carelessness on the part of Siddique Kappan's team, so that his release from jail could have been much earlier, but for that carelessness. Secondly, as far as authorities are concerned, obviously they will try to keep persons like Siddique Kappan in jail as long as possible, because they know that this particular charge sheet is not going to end up in conviction, because the charge sheet is so weak and so hollow that even we are contemplating filing a discharge application once charge is framed. They are not even able to frame a charge. When Supreme Court asked why framing of charge is not done, the UP police told the Supreme Court that they are looking for an approver. So that means, the case is so weak that they haven't got any witnesses, they haven't got enough evidence, so they are trying to get one of the accusers approver so that the case proceeds. So even after 2 years, if the charge has not been framed, that means the case is very, very weak, and they fully know that this will end up in an acquittal. And therefore, so long as these technical things are there, technical problems are there for Kappan, let him remain in jail, I think, is the motto behind the UP prosecution right now.
And if I were to ask about, the conditionalities that have been imposed and the kind of sureties that are being asked, so if you could tell us about that.
The trial court has imposed conditions of two local sureties. Now, the problem is that Kappan doesn't have any contact in place like Lucknow or Mathura because he's not from there. And everybody knows that. He was residing in Delhi as for his professional purposes. Otherwise, he is a resident of Kerala. So I think that has been told to the court also that you can impose a much more stricter financial conditions. But then the court has refused that, and court has insisted for two local sureties over there, and he's finding it very very difficult to get two local sureties to stand him for getting him out of jail. The bail was passed a week back by the Supreme Court. Monday was the date when the trial court in Lucknow also imposed his conditions. Till today, I have learned that they haven't got a person to stand for surety as local sureties from Lucknow. So I think that is a very harsh condition. They could have imposed a condition, or they could have had his wife, his brother, whomsoever as sureties, because those are the sureties who will ensure the presence of Kappan before the trial court for trial. Anyway, that is a condition imposed, and that is creating a lot of problems for Kappan's family. That's what I understand.
And if we were to sort of reflect on his arrest and on his this entire narrative which is played out, how do you reflect on it in terms of a political context? Because we see that there is, for our viewers to give us a recap, Siddique Kappan has been in jail for the last approximately 2 years. He was traveling to Uttar Pradesh's Hathras, where a Dalit woman had been raped by upper caste men, and he was on his way while he was stopped on the Hathras toll plaza, and he was arrested from there. And post that, the charges against him largely pertained to him hatching a conspiracy against the state of India and trying to get terror funding, and that is exactly the case against him. But it's been 2 years, and we've seen in these 2 years that there are numerous such cases which have come to light. So how do you view that in that larger context?
See, the allegation against Kappan is that there is a deposit of 45,000 rupees in his bank account, and this 45,000 rupees was deposited by PFI for the purpose of utilizing it for anti-national activities, and that too the medium of utilization is through Kappan. That is how the angle of conspiracy comes in. Because as you know, under UAPA, it's the stringent provisions of bail is there, and two provisions have been invoked against him. One is this terror funding, another is conspiracy angle. And as far as the conspiracy is concerned, when the court asked what is the material, they said that there was this pamphlet which have been recovered from the car, and when they looked at the pamphlet, it was just a Justice for Hathras victims sort of a pamphlet where they said that we have to organize a lot of protests and all to ensure justice for that particular family.
Which was said in the Supreme Court hearing recently as well.
Correct, and they had actually annexed that particular document also. I was surprised that the prosecution had annexed that, because it was easier for us to get bail, because to get convinced the Supreme Court also, and Supreme Court also got convinced after seeing those documents. Not only those documents, the latter portion of the documents was actually some sort of a document which was incorporated from the Black Lives Matter from America, that agitation which happened in America. So therefore, whole thing was either orchestrated against Kappan. As you know, he was actually arrested under very, very minor provisions initially, Section 151 CRPC, which is very minor provision. I think when the entire thing, because since he was a journalist, since he was occupying a high position as secretary of the Kerala Union of Working Journalists, then suddenly I think everything flared up, and then he was actually put under the UAPA. And once he was under the UAPA, I think there was a message, maybe political message by the government that don't mess up with the system over here. If you are going to mess up with the system and trying to disturb our style of functioning, then this is what you are going to get. Be you a journalist or someone else. I think politically that might be the message which they were trying to convey at that point of time. But then that is political. I am not going to give a political message that way. But then legally, if you have a case, then it has to be reflected in the evidence and the charge sheet which you are putting up against a particular person. But when you look at the charge sheet of Kappan, we can actually understand it is so hollow, because their case shifts from one position to another. In the FIR, it was one particular case. When it came to the charge sheet, it was another case. Then when they filed their objections before the Supreme Court, it was another completely different story. So they don't have a story to fix Kappan in any manner. They haven't got any evidence. Now 45,000 rupees which they are talking about, which is in two tranches, one 15,000, another 125,000, another 20,000 tranches which they have, which somebody had put according to them. We have got the evidence that was put by Kappan at the CDM, cash deposit machine in Jangpura. Now, if they want to take evidence, they can surely go there and have the CCTV evidence of that particular day when it was deposited. That is the end of the matter. Their case is that it was PFI who deposited the amount for the anti-national activities. That is also 45,000 rupees. Mind you, 45,000 rupees, not a penny more, not a penny less. So this amount, if that is the basis for terror funding, and you have the evidence that Kappan had deposited the amount, the case again falls flat there as far as the terror funding thing is concerned. So on this kind of very, very minuscule sort of an evidence, or no evidence in fact, I don't know how they could proceed with the case. Therefore, as I told you earlier, that might be one of the reasons why they are wanting to put Kappan behind bars as long as possible by projecting all technicalities.
So we really appreciate you sharing all these insights. Is there anything else that, sir, you'd like to add, or do you think it's, yeah, okay. So thank you so much, sir, for your time. And we at The Wire, we're committed to following up on cases like Siddique Kappan's, and we're bringing to you the most important updates related to his case. Stay tuned.
द वायर के और वीडियोस देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन पर क्लिक करें। स्वतंत्र पत्रकारिता की आर्थिक मदद करने के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक पर जाएं और अपनी राशि चुनें।